Hello, welcome back to the Mindful Melbourne Maker podcast. This is episode 18 and it's September 2025. My name is Kath and I'm a knitter, knitwear designer and all-around maker. I do lots of different things and I live in Melbourne in Australia. This is my YouTube channel where I share all about the things that I'm making and I like to sort of interact with everyone who joins me here, so welcome. You can find me on Instagram as Mindful Melbourne Maker and on Ravelry as kathsmartin. You'll also find my knitwear patterns for sale on Ravelry under kathsmartin designs, and my email and everything are also down below if you ever wanted to reach out. So the details for everything that I'm going to talk about today will be down in the description box below, so there'll be links to patterns and details of yarn and bags and all sorts of things are down there, so feel free to click on the button down there to get all the information. And do please give me a thumbs up or like, and I really encourage you to subscribe to my channel if you don't want to miss out on any of my videos. So I think that's all the admin stuff out of the way. Thank you very much for joining me today. So it's been quite a few weeks since I've properly caught up with you in a podcast episode because I did in August, I did the West Knits Mystery Sock Along and I did a little vlog series which is on my channel if you want to go watch that if you haven't already. So I checked in with you with those socks, but I haven't checked in with a proper podcast. So you can imagine the mountains of projects that are sitting around me at the moment that I'm keen to share with you. So really keen to show you all the things that I've finished and the things that I'm working on at the moment. What has been going on? Well, I had the flu. I had influenza, which is a bit of a bummer because I did have the flu shot, but that apparently didn't work, so that's okay. I've been doing lots of knitting while I was sick, and I'm back at work now and very, very busy, so life is very busy at the moment. What else? I have released my latest pattern, the Perth Socks, today, so I'll talk more about those in my finished objects, but that pattern is released today. Yay! So that's very exciting, and there, if you are watching and you do want to head over and purchase that pattern, thank you so much. There is a discount code to celebrate the launch, so if you're watching this episode on the weekend that the pattern was released, which I think it's around, I don't know the date, but it's around the 12th or 13th of September, until Monday midnight there is a discount code for 10% off, so I'll pop the code here and you can use that over in Ravelry to get a discount to celebrate the launch. But even if you don't want to buy the pattern, go and check it out, give it a like, because that just helps other people to see it if they want to check out the pattern too. My next pattern is currently being tested and it will be my very first shawl pattern, so I'll talk about that more. I've got a finished object here to show you, so that's a bit exciting. That's being tested at the moment. I'm getting close to a round number of subscribers, which is always nice. I like round numbers. I don't know about anybody else, but it just gives me a sense of calm. I'm certainly not here to I'm not really too interested in, achieving great numbers of subscribers or anything, but it's always nice to celebrate those little milestones and to watch our community grow. So if we do get to that nice round number of 2,000, in the next episode I will have a bit of a giveaway. So maybe if you haven't subscribed already, hit that button and we'll see if we can get it up over 2,000. And something very exciting is, as you know, I was part of the collaboration known as the Bendigo Project this year. So I can confirm that we'll be back again next year for the Bendigo Project, and I am again one of the designers, founding designers, I guess, as part of that, and we've got some very exciting new things happening with that as well. So we've started having lots of conversations, lots of planning meetings. We've been thinking about the theme, and I've been thinking about patterns, and so all of that is going to be coming along. So if you're interested in that for next year, and don't forget to go over and follow the Instagram page and the Facebook page. There's also a Ravelry group, and there'll be more information coming out soon about all of that, and there's some very exciting expansion of the concept of the Bendigo Project for next year, which is good for some of our friendly non-knitting makers, let's just say. So that's very exciting. Also, the West Knits Mystery Knit Along is coming up. So that's coming up in October. So I have the information came out from Stephen West about the Mystery Knit Along for this year, and I think it's called Mystery Musicale. Which is very good, because I already had in my mind that the theme I really wanted to do this year is a wicked theme with my colorways and things. So that just marries up nicely, doesn't it? So I put together a bit of a mood board, which I'll pop here, and this is my theme for this year. So the wicked theme for my West Knits MCAL. So I have reached out to Susan from Ash and Eve, so a big thank you to Susan, because she has some perfect colours that match my theme. So I'll be getting hopefully some yarn from Susan shortly, so I'll be able to show that when it does come in, but I'm looking forward to sharing the process of knitting that one with you all, because I anticipate that it will be very fun. As we did last year, I have a Instagram chat group that you're very free to join for the Mystery Knit Along. So if you're knitting along and you'd like the encouragement of a group of people to sort of, we help each other along the way, we give each other encouragement, feel free to join. I'll have, the link is on, is down below, but also if you can't find it, just send me a DM on Instagram and I can add you to that chat group. It's a lot of fun, and there's lots of really nice people in there to encourage us along. So today I have, what do I have? I have 5 finished objects, and I have maybe 6 works in progress to share, but let's see how quickly we whip through it, because otherwise we could be here forever. But there's just so much because I haven't checked in for a while. So why don't we get started? Okay, so let's talk about finished objects. So my first finished object was a whip in my last video, and it is all finished. This one was a project that I started and finished very quickly. And I started it with yarn that I purchased from the Bendigo Sheep Show this year. So I was really pleased to cast on some of the yarn that I purchased from there straight away and use it straight away, because I always get a sense of justification for all my purchases if I use at least one of the skeins straight away. Having said that, I have actually cast quite a lot of it on, but that's okay. So I feel much better about all of my purchases if I go and use it straight away. So there we go. So this is the Sophie Shawl by Petite Knit. So I've knit the Sophie scarf before, but not the Sophie Shawl. So and here it is. It's really, really turned out quite beautifully, and I put it down, like the pattern's great, it's very straightforward, it's very easy, but this yarn is absolutely beautiful. Look at those colours. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. And I have worn it a couple of times because we have had it, it's starting to warm up outside. I'm not wearing any knitwear today because it is actually a little bit like spring outside. It is Melbourne, so this afternoon it could be winter again, but we'll see. But it has been cooler, so I have been able to wear this, and it's been very, very nice to wear. And I think the colour is quite nice on me. Not my usual bright, but it's a really nice colour. So this yarn is, I've got this much left, which is maybe a couple of grams, and it was from the Woolly Goose, which was a stall in the middle of the oval at the sheep show, and it's the 8-ply merino yarn in the colourway Dark Secrets. and it's 100% merino with a meterage of approximately 180 meters. So it's not, I mean, I would say that's more of a worsted, but it was labeled as DK. I had 2 skeins and that's all I have left of it. So I didn't, because the meterage was a bit shorter, it's fine, but I didn't get to the maximum number of stitches that I wanted for the large size because I just didn't have enough. I knitted until I had 1 or 2 grams left of my first skein, and then I started decreasing, and yeah, and I had plenty, but you know, just enough to finish, and so it's kind of in between the small and large size, but it's plenty, as you can see, it's plenty big enough, and yeah, I really enjoy it. So what else did I do? I used my 5mm C-knit needles, which I also bought at the sheep show, which was good. And I think the stitch count I increased up to is on my project page, which is linked below, but it is, I increased up to 55 stitches. I cast this on the 20th of July and I finished it on the 28th of July, so super quick. And it actually blocked out, when I finished knitting it, I was like, oh, it's a bit small, but you know, some aggressive blocking later and it's actually blocked out to a pretty good size, I think. So you can, with garter stitch, you can block to your heart's content to get the size that you want. Yeah, so this one was good. Now this one actually spurred on my ideas for my very first shawl pattern, because as I was knitting this, there were lots of things, there's lots of things I liked, mostly the yarn, but there was lots of things about the pattern that I thought, oh, I'd probably do that differently, and I'd probably do this differently, and I'd like to do it so you can actually use 2 skeins in a bit of an interesting way, different colours, and so I had all these ideas bubbling. I thought, I haven't designed a shawl before, but how hard can it be? So I've had a go, and we'll talk about that one in a little bit, but this one did inspire, which I think is a beautiful part of the creative process, because there's no new ideas out there, is there? It's really just your interpretation and, you know, pouring your ideas and your creativity into the world in a way that reflects your own thoughts and things. So yeah, so that was a really fun knit and I have worn it, which is great. So my second finished object I'm very excited about, and I would be wearing it if I wasn't too hot, but it is absolutely spectacular, and it is my Daft Days cardigan by Rebecca Clow, or the Crayobear. And here it is here, all finished. Now those colours are beautiful. What I will do is I'll pop in some footage of me wearing it, because I did pop it on to get a little bit of footage. I got very hot very quickly, so I knew I wouldn't be able to wear it. But here it is in all its glory, and it is so good. I think the yarn is the hero in this garment. There's the beautiful texture and yarn, and then I've already popped buttons on, so there are my buttons there, and you'll see that I've actually used little bits of yarn in different colors from these colorways to fix the buttons onto the cardigan. So it really has I think a really integrated kind of palette and design. So what did I use? What did I do? The natural colour here is Bendigo Woolen Mill's Luxury 8-ply in Stone, the colourway Stone. And the other yarn, the rainbow gorgeousness that is here, is one of my advents from last year. So it is the Hodgepodge Skeins 2024 Gemstones Advent. I got that advent in a 4-ply yarn, so fingering weight, and I held it double for this pattern. So I knitted the size 6 because I wanted a little bit more ease than what the pictures kind of showed with the designer. I also have heard that her gauge, like she's a bit of a looser knitter than kind of the norm. So I thought I'm going to use the needle size that she suggests, but I knew that I would probably get a slightly tighter gauge, which I reckon I have a little bit. So I used 3.75mm needles and then 3.5 for the ribbing, which it's good, it's nice, and I think it's blocked out to probably maybe the size 5. So I think I did pretty well there. So it fits beautifully though. I'm really, really happy with the fit. The sleeves, when I was knitting them, I thought, oh, they're going to be really tight. They're going to be very narrow. So I really aggressively blocked the sleeves, and I was pretty aggressive with blocking the rest of the garment too, because my gauge was, it's quite a dense stitch pattern, dense fabric that you're creating with the stitch pattern. Then I've got fingering weight held double, and so I just thought I want there to be a little bit more drape than there was when I knit it, and blocking actually helped, gave it a little bit more drape, made it sort of relax a bit, and I'm really, really happy with it now. So I started it on the 12th of April and I finished it on the 10th of August, which is pretty quick for a garment for me. I'm not particularly quick with garments, and particularly one that's not stockinette fabric. It's all over stitch patterns, so I thought that was pretty good. As I've talked about before, I used all 24 colours plus the main skein as a stripe. So I've got 25 stripes on the body, starting from the darkest sort of brown down there, that's the main skein. And then I've got the 24 colours there. I wanted the pinks and reds and purples up near my face, so I sort of reversed the day order, I think. And then for the sleeves, I used sort of day 1 and went down as far as I needed to. So it got me down to kind of the greens, which is fine. Yellow's not my super favourite colour, so I was actually happy not to have yellow on the sleeve. And it worked out really well. I went via the measurements in the pattern in terms of where to knit to. And then when I blocked it out, it actually fits perfectly. So that's really good. I think I've talked in depth about this in previous episodes, so you can always go back and check that. But since the last episode, I think I was only partway through the first sleeve. So I finished the sleeves, finished the button band and the collar, and did, like, including all the buttonholes, sewed on the buttons, blocked it out. It was perfect. If I was to knit this again, which I don't think I would, because the stitch pattern was not super relaxing to knit, but if I knit it again, I would probably go up a needle size, and I think I would also do fewer decreases on the sleeves, and I would space the decreases out a bit more. So that's just because I don't have super skinny arms. So while I like it kind of fitted, and it fits actually quite nicely, I think for a cardigan with this much ease I would probably want just a little bit more room in the arms. But yeah, but that is my Daft Days cardigan, which is so beautiful. I love it. I love it. So where shall I put that? Over there. Okay. So my next finished object you have seen a bunch of times if you've watched my little vlog series of the West Knits mystery sock along, or whatever it's called. So these are the Delectable Collectible socks by Stephen West, and these were the mystery socks that we knitted in August. This was the very first time I did his sock along. I've knit his shawl, mystery shawl knit along every year for quite a few years, but I have never tried his socks, and this year they were amazing. I didn't actually plan to knit them, but when I saw the first clue come out and I saw the teasers on Instagram of other people's socks, I thought, oh, I really want to knit these, and I cast them on straight away. So luckily I also had yarn laying about that were perfect. So here is my finished socks, and I've got the other one here. So I knit two, and as you can see, if you've watched the episodes, you'll see I knit a different colour order for each sock, which I thought was super fun. So they're matching but not matchy, which I think is really fun to see how the different stitch pattern played with the different colour order. So this yarn is from Athena, and it's her Laura's Romulus sock base, and I got a mini skein set from Laura, so 5 mini skeins. I got that in at the Bendigo Sheep Show this year. So again, using up some yarn that I got from the sheep show. The mini skein set had a had a colorway name for the whole set. It didn't have individual color names. So the colorway name for the set was Tulip Day. And I know that Laura has actually just dyed up some more of those. So if you're really, really keen, if you love these colors, just reach out to her on Instagram and just let her know that you'd love some, because yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful yarn to knit with, and the colors just were so good for these socks. So I cast these on the 2nd of August, and I finished them on the 21st of August. Now, because I've only had the mystery shawl experience with Stephen West, I was a bit like, oh, because I was sick at the same time, I thought if I only finish one sock, that's okay. But actually, it was super quick to knit through them. There was not as much pressure, not as much knitting as in the shawls, and actually it was really easy to finish a full pair in the month. So that was really good. So I knit these on the 2.25mm needles as usual. I knit the size 2, which is the 60 stitch size. My usual size is 64. They're probably a little bit tighter than the usual socks I knit, but the next size up would have been too big for me. So yeah, they're fine. I can get them on, which is good. It's a really, with any of his patterns, it's a really great pattern, and he's got videos to follow. So even though there's lots of what look like super complicated kind of advanced stitches, it really isn't. They're really easy, and because he has videos for the whole sock, you actually learn new stitches as you go and new techniques, which is really fun. So yeah, so I got very low on yarn as I was knitting these, so I think switching up the color order helped with that. I didn't run out, but I was very low, so I didn't have too much left over. But I think I'll definitely try his sock knit alongs in the future, because I think this was a really fun one, and I just really enjoyed all of the techniques, and you know, got me through some of that time where I felt really unwell, because it was when I had the flu. So yeah, so that's my 3rd finished object. My 4th finished object is my new pattern release. So let's talk about these ones. So this pattern came out today, and these are the Perth Socks. So let me show you them, and then we'll talk all about them. Oh, they're so pretty. So the idea behind the Perth Socks, so they're part of my Australian City sock collection. So if you go into Ravelry and have a look, I've got a whole heap of patterns, sock patterns, that are all named after Australian cities. And this is the latest one. So I have actually been to all the cities, all the places that I've named my patterns after. I've actually been. I've either lived there or I've visited. And so Perth, now this came about because somebody had asked if I could design a pattern sock. So something that had interest, had pattern, but that would look good in variegated yarn, in speckled yarn. So often when you have highly variegated, highly speckled yarn, you kind of lose the patterning of the sock. So I tried a whole bunch of different stitch patterns, and I found this beautiful twisted cable. So, and I thought, even in the really highly variegated yarn, it still pops out at you, and you can still see all the hard work you put in. And it's a way to use those absolutely beautiful speckled and variegated skeins that you've got in your stash and you don't know what to do with. You don't just want to knit vanilla socks. So here is what you can do. So the twisted cable stitches, I've got instructions in the pattern for how to do them without a cable needle, so you don't need to fuss about with any of that. They're super easy to knit, but it's really striking. It's got a little bit of a pop of colour in the twisted stitches, so there's a way to kind of create that beautiful clean edge in the twisted stitches, which I talk you through. There's lots of links in the pattern to different things, and then you'll see that the twisted stitches go all the way down the heel flap. Now let me grab the other one. The heel flap is one of my favorite parts of this, because you'll see that the cables go right down and they hug each side of your heel and go right down to the bottom of your heel. It's so good. It looks so good when they're on, and it's so fun to knit, and it just flies because it's a really easy repeat. You know where you are at all times. It's very potato chippy. You just want to get to the next one. So these are the Perth Socks. The yarn I used for the sample is, again, Owl of Athena in the Romulus sock base. So I've had this yarn in my stash forever, and because it's so gorgeous, but I wanted to use it for something and really enjoy it, that it would show it off. And I finally, this was the pattern. So the yarn, here's the leftovers. So you can see it doesn't use a full skein, this pattern, even for having the legs quite long. So that's the yarn there, and that's Owl of Athena. And it's in the colorway Fairy Riot, which is one of her classic beautiful yarns. And the little mini that went with it, because it was a sock set, the little mini is called Fairy Gold. And I just thought they were so beautiful together. And this is after I said I don't like yellow. I love this yellow. So that's the yarn. And yeah, it's so beautiful. My testers were magnificent, of course. I love running test knits because my testers, we have such a fun group. We have a chat that we go through. It's really fun. There's not pressure to finish, or complicated forms to fill in or anything. I want it to be fun. I want people to kind of meet and have fun together and encourage each other. So that's what we do. And everyone's socks just turned out so beautifully. So yeah, they're my Perth socks. So I cast these on the 19th of July. And then I finished the second one, because I always hold off and I tend to finish with my testers. So I finished the second one on the 30th of August, but you could definitely knit them up in a few weeks. They're very quick. The testers had 4 weeks, and I only asked that they finish one sock, but a lot of people finished the whole pair in that time. So yeah, they're beautiful. So a huge thank you to all my testers. They just do such an important job in the process of designing and releasing patterns. That you couldn't do it without them. So yeah, a huge thank you to all of you. So we'll put those over there. I have one more finished object, and it is my next pattern design that is currently in testing. So this is my first shawl pattern, so be gentle. It will, I think, be out around the start of October. And let's talk about the yarn first. So the yarn I used is from Melbourne City Dyeworks. They're beautiful, beautiful colours. Now, I don't think Pauline from Melbourne City Dyeworks, I don't think she has this base anymore, but she does have an 8-ply DK weight base that has the same yardage. So you could use the yarn that she now has, or you could use any other yarn that you have to get a DK weight gauge. So as I often have with my patterns that are in a DK weight gauge, you can either use DK yarn, 8-ply yarn, or you could use a fingering weight yarn held double, or you can use fingering weight held with mohair. So there's lots of yarn options, so you can really go stash diving. You can have lots of fun with color and yarn combinations and texture. So the yarn I use for this sample is the 8-ply 100% merino, which is around 200 meters for 100 grams. So it's those two there. So there's the details. So I actually got these yarns, I bought them at a market in Mooroolbark in Melbourne, which was earlier this year. So that's where I got the yarn. Now these yarns didn't have colorway names, but this one is this absolutely gorgeous sort of pinky apricot-y peachy colour. And then there's this really lovely kind of rainbow, soft rainbow speckles, but it's more like a soft palette rainbow. It's not kind of all the bright colours, and I just thought they looked beautiful together when they were laying on the table, and they wanted to come home with me, and apparently they wanted to be this shawl, so that's fun. So that's the yarn, and then here is the shawl, and you can see it is a garter stitch shawl. Now it is my favorite shawl shape, which is actually an asymmetrical triangle. So I love asymmetrical triangle shaped shawls to wear. I think they're much easier to wear. They stay on for some reason. They sort of hug your neck really beautifully. So that's what I've designed. So here it is here, and you can see the two colors. There's some really fun color play in the transitions. So you can either have, like I have here, and see this tail goes on quite a long way, so it's asymmetrical. There's different rates of increases and decreases going on, but it's really mindless, really fun. Once you know what you're doing, it's the quickest, most relaxing knit you'll ever have. And yeah, and this one, so it comes in, it will come in two sizes, small and large. This is the small. I'm also knitting a large sample, and I'll show that in my whips. But this is the small sample, and you can see this is the long side, and this is the shorter side. Let's pop it on. There we go. And you can see it just fits really beautifully. The beautiful transition color is there. And I think what I was saying is you could either use really strong contrast to kind of have that pop in the transition space, or you could use colors that kind of blend into one another and it becomes more of a fade shawl, which is wonderful. So what I've also done is, because I've designed the small size to use 2 skeins, I want you to be able to use as much of your skeins of yarn as possible, even if your yardage is different to your yardage and gauge are different to mine in the pattern. So I've got throughout the pattern grams and percentages of where you need to be when you get to the midway point, when you get to the widest part, when you get to the transition, just so if you want to use as much of your yarn as possible, you can just weigh it at the start and then weigh it when you get to those kind of guideposts, and then you'll be able to basically adjust your shawl to whatever size you want to use up all of your yarn, which is great. So yeah, really happy with it. I'm really proud of it, and my test knitters are having so much fun. Their colors are amazing, their yarn is amazing, they're flying through it. Some of the testers are knitting more than one because they're so quick. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm really proud of this. So I cast this on the 30th of July, and I finished this one on the 12th of August, so very quick. I think I knitted mine on 5mm needles, and yeah, it's a good pattern for gift knitting as well, because it's super quick and it doesn't need to fit, because shawls can, anyone can fit shawls. So yeah, it's really fun. So that's the Melbourne shawl, and that'll be coming out in early October. And so that's all my finished objects for today. Why don't we move into works in progress? Okay, so let's get stuck into whips, and I'm going to go through these a bit more quickly without too much detail, only because otherwise we'll be here for hours and ain't nobody got time for that. So whips, it's been a bit of cast on mania. I think while I was sick I was craving the adrenaline and all those good feeling hormones from cast on. So there are a couple of new cast ons. But you know what? Life is short. Knit all the things. If you're a monogamous knitter, wonderful. Love that journey for you. I'm definitely not. So it's fine. Embrace the chaos. So first work in progress, first whip, is being held in my doggo bag from Paddle Knits, which I absolutely love. It's padded and it's so good. So this one, I really wanted to use some more. I was hankering to use some more yarn that I got from the sheep show this year. And this yarn, let me show you the tag. This is from Fibre Arts Shed, which is there. So Fibre Arts Shed. And it's the High Fae yarn. So you will have seen this in my Bendigo episode where I showed all my yarn. This is the High Fae yarn. It's a DK weight yarn, 8 ply, 200 meters per 100 grams. It's woolen spun, so it's really light and kind of fluffy. And it is wool and sari silk. So it's this absolutely gorgeous natural base, and it's got all of these rainbow bits of sari silk blended through. It is so pretty, so pretty, and it's lovely, lovely to knit with. It's soft in a rustic way, like not in a super merino-y soft way. But it's not itchy at all. It's really, really nice. So I only got enough skeins. I think I got 3 skeins. So I had in my mind I'll do a vest. I actually cast on a vest that I want to knit, and I still want to knit it, by Johi Locatelli, called the Emery vest, but I started it and it just wasn't working in this yarn. I think that pattern is actually a bit of a worsted weight gauge. I had the DK weight. I thought it'd be alright if I went down a needle size, but it didn't. It just wasn't working. It wasn't gelling. I wasn't feeling the love, so I pulled that out. And so I was looking around for a vest that I really wanted to, I had a particular kind of cable idea in my mind. I'm not a garment designer yet, never say never, but I'm not. So I wanted someone else's pattern. And then Rebecca Cloak of the Cray Bay had a sale, and so I thought I'm going to do the Lauder vest, or the Lauder. So I grabbed that pattern during her sale, and I've cast that on with this yarn, and here is where I'm up to. Doesn't it look so good in this yarn? Look at those cables. So this is the back piece, not the front piece, the back. You start at the top, and you've got these increases along here that, you know, results in this cable going down the back shoulder, which is really fun. And then you get to the point I'm at, actually, or actually no, where this stitch marker is. This is a Bendigo Project stitch marker. Where that stitch marker is where you stop doing the back piece, and you start increasing for the underarms. So that's where I'm up to. It's not stockinette, so it's not super quick, but most of the rows, like every 4th row is a cable row, so most of the rows are kind of plain knitting the knits, purling the pearls, which is fairly relaxing. And then the cable row is fairly intuitive, and I do the cables without a cable needle, just with a bit of a pinch, and, you know, risk the stitches flying off everywhere, but that's okay. So yeah, it's really fun, and I'm doing it on my C-knit needles that I got in Bendigo this year. I do love my Chiagu metal needles, but I am enjoying these, so I just thought, well, I've got the size sitting there, so I'll use it for these. So I cast these on, I cast this on the 30th of August, and I'm knitting a size 6 again with Rebecca Clow. That size worked well for the Daft days, so I thought I'll pick that in case my gauge is a little bit tighter. Did I gauge swatch? No, but I've measured. I used this as a gauge swatch, the back. So I started the back, I've measured. It's all actually going to work out beautifully once it's blocked. So I'm happy with the gauge that I've got. I'm also happy with the fabric that it's making. I'm using 3.5 and 3mm needles. What else? I think that's all. I mean, it's not much, but as you can see, I've done quite a few of the cable rows. It's looking really, really good, and it's a fun one just to pull out when I don't want just plain stockinette, but I don't want anything too complicated, which you'll see in a moment. I've got one of those. So yeah, so that's my first work in progress. Yay. My second work in progress is in this spectacular bag by Crystal Catch Stitchery. Just the corduroy, so nice. The colour is so good. This is the Eva cardigan by Petite Knit. So I've shown you this before and I've made really, really good progress. So I'm knitting this up in Bendigo Woolen Mills, the Whisper 8 ply, so DK weight, in the colourway Plum. So I have 4 balls of this. I hope that colour's okay for me. I'm not one for, I think even if I got my colours done, I wouldn't comply with the recommendations anyway. So I just kind of go with the colours that I'm drawn to, and that one called out to me. So this is where we're up to with the Eva cardigan. So I think when I showed you in the last episode, I was still on the raglan increases. So I finished the raglan increases and as you can see, I've split for sleeves, and now I'm knitting back and forth, so knitting, purling, and I have to do that for quite a bit, and then I'll do some ribbing on the body. So it's looking pretty good, and this is the project I pick up when I just want some plain knitting and purling, because I really want to make progress. So I try and do a couple of rows every night to make sure that I'm ticking along the progress. I do also, you can see I've got some stitch markers on the back there. That's how I kind of motivate myself. So each one of those stitch markers is, I want to say 10 centimeters apart. So I've counted the rows and then I'll put another stitch marker each time. So I'm kind of motivated to get to the next stitch marker. So it just helps with when you're just knitting back and forth. It helps. So yeah, so I think that's going to be really good. And the size, I've kind of tried it on. The size feels really good. And I'm really interested to see how this shoulder construction kind of fits when it's blocked out, because I think it's going to be really, really nice. So yeah, so I'm making this with 4mm needles. I cast on the 4th of July, and I'm making the size large. I don't know what number that is. Might be 4, maybe 5, might be 4. What else? Oh, I've knit all of this and I'm just onto my second ball. So this is how much I've still got of my second ball. So I love Bendigo Woolen Mills gigantic balls. If only yarn all came in gigantic balls so we didn't have to join it. Wouldn't that be great? But yeah, it's a Petite knit pattern, so as usual, her pattern's brilliantly, beautifully written. I love them, easy to follow, very classic shapes and styles. Great. So yeah, really recommend that one. And I'm looking forward to having it, but I'm not pushing myself to finish it, if that makes sense. Okay, so my next one is the more complicated one. This is in a bag from Ash and Eve Designs that I got as part of the Advent that I purchased from Susan last year. This is the Book Club Cardigan by Sari Nordland. So with this pattern I've cast on, I've been wanting to knit it for ages, and then the housemates that I stay with in Bendigo, when we go to the sheep show, there's a group of about, I think there's 6 or 7 of us, 7 I think. We were talking about doing a bit of a housemate knit along, so that's what we're doing. So we are all knitting the Book Club cardigan, and we are knitting it with yarn that we bought predominantly in Bendigo this year. So at the sheep show this year, we all bought yarn for the same garment and we're all going to knit along. So we cast on the 1st of September, and I'll show you my yarn and I'll show you where I'm up to, because it is it's going to be amazing, but it's also, I think it's going to take me a while. So this yarn is the yarn I got from Bendigo Woolen Mills. It's the new base that they had, that sort of farm to shop base called Woollemmy. I don't know how to say it, but this is that yarn and it is beautiful. It's very heathered, and I really love the colour. See if I can find the little label. Here it is. So that's it there, Woollen, and it's in the colourway Acacia Limelight, which is shade 2961. So it's 8 ply, DK weight. So the Book Club cardigan is around a worsted weight gauge. So I'm using this, but I'm also adding a silk mohair. So I was looking for a match for this colour, and it's quite a bright kind of apple green. So but I found this. So it's, I mean, it doesn't look very matchy in the sunlight, but it's actually making a beautiful fabric. So this is a mohair I haven't used before, so I'm very interested to see how it knits up and if I like it when I've finished with it. So this is the mohair, and this is the label for it. It is Biches Bouche Le Petite Silk and Mohair, which is 30% mulberry silk, 70% super kid mohair, and it is in the colorway medium green, or yeah, I think that's it. It has a dye lot, so it's medium green grey. Actually, it doesn't look very grey, but medium green grey, and I think it's a really nice complement to the Bendigo yarn. So here is what I've done so far. So I haven't done too much, but it's looking, oh, look how good it looks. So this is, again, you start on the back panel, and that's, you make the increases for the shoulders. So this, again, I used as my gauge swatch, and I've measured gauge, and I'm bang on gauge, perfectly on gauge. So I'm very excited. Because it has the silk mohair and it has cables, I'm not going to be super aggressive with the blocking, and I think it's going to be really nice. So that's it there, and look at those cables. Oh, it's so good. And I love the seed stitch or moss stitch or whatever, whichever stitch it is that's in the middle there. I love doing that. And this is a really fun one, and I've got my gorgeous little stitch marker from Bubbles and Berries on there because I think it just matches beautifully. So I'm using whatever the needles are that are in the pattern, which is 4mm. So I'm using my ChiaoGoo red lace needles, 4mm needles, and I'll use 3mm for the ribbing and stuff. I'm knitting a size 5 because I think that will give me a good amount of ease. And what else? Oh, I cast on 1st of September, I said that. Oh, the aim is to finish before the sheep show next year. So hopefully it'll take me a while, but the threat of a deadline, I'm hoping, will spur me along, and I will have this so that I can wear it at the sheep show next year, which is very exciting with all my housemates. So yeah, loving it so far. The cables, again, I'm able to do the cables without a cable needle, so I'm just kind of pinching and sliding, which is working quite well. The cabling is a little more complicated than the Lauder because it's not the same cables every time. So I have to be close to the pattern. I have to be keeping an eye out. I can't be in the middle of watching a movie. So this is a very particular kind of concentration knit, really. But I'm really enjoying it, so looking forward to showing progress on that one. My next whip is one that has been on the needles for a really long time, but when I finished my Daft days, I picked this up when I was feeling sick because I thought, oh, I can just make a little bit of progress. I'm enjoying the progress so much. So this is in a bag that I actually made, so it's just some fabric from Spotlight, and there's a pattern that I'll put the name of the pattern down below because I can sew. Sewing's not my favorite because knitting is my favorite, but yes, I made that bag, so I do like using the bags I made. This is the Marled Magic Shawl by Stephen West. So I love knitting all of his mystery knit along shawls, and there's a bunch of them that I haven't knit because I only started, 4 or 5 years ago. And so I every now and then I cast on an older older one to knit, and this is one of those. I think it's the Mystery Knit Along Shawl from 2017. So and it's actually at a DK weight gauge, which is crazy. So it's got lots of marling in it, and it's reminiscent of Vertices Unite in that it's a modular knit. So there's lots of different sections that are knit separately, but you knit them kind of, so there's no seaming. They're kind of it's knit seamlessly in pieces, but kind of, I hope I'm explaining that properly. Anyway, you'll see. So it's a DK weight gauge, so I'm holding, but you're marling, so I'm holding either 2 fingering weight strands together and marling them, or I'm holding a fingering and a mohair. And I think last time I showed you I was only in section 1. So I finished section 1, I finished section 2, I finished section 3, and 1, 2, 3, I'm in section 4. So I've made some really great progress while I was sick, because this was a very soothing one. So here it is. It's all the bright colours, all the neons, because why would you not want to wrap yourself up in all the bright colours? Oh, how good does it look? So there is it there. Let me show you. So this is section 1, this one here. And this was the one that I was kind of partway through when I first showed you. So it's like eyelets and things. There's also, I think you will recall, a mess of really, really long ends back here from all of the different marling, and I've tied it so that it doesn't keep getting in the way. What you have to do at the end is pull all of those strands through and then do a braid and a big tassel, but you don't do that till the end. So I've just got them hanging out here like some sort of chaotic mess. Then section 2 is the seed stitch or moss stitch. I'm a designer, you'd think I'd know. One of the stitches where you knit purl and then do the opposite. And this marl was a lot of fun. So that section, it's really long. It took a while, but I got through it pretty quick, and I had a lot of fun with all of those colours, marling all the colours so it all blended nicely together. And then I got to the fluffy brioche section. Oh, it's so good. It was so much fun to knit, and the colours and the yarn, and I couldn't put it down, and I kept just staring at it like I was in love with it. But this section, and I don't know if you can get a sense of it, it's brioche, but it's fluffy and sparkly. So this yarn is, I didn't bother marling this section because the yarn was too spectacular. I just wanted to use it for the whole section. So it's brioche, one colour brioche, and I've held a strand of leftover sparkly yarn from my Creative Garage, from my advent from last year. So that's the yarn there, and that was from the Flowers advent. Sparkly, spectacular. And then the mohair I held with it, I don't think I've got the mohair in here. The mohair I held with it is actually one of the mohairs I got at the sheep show this year from Little Woolly Makes, and it was neon peach. Oh, the combination is amazing. I feel like I want an entire garment in this colour. And yeah, because it's got the mohair, it's all like fluffy. This section just made me so happy. And then section 1, 2, 3, 4 is this section here. So this is just a garter section. So this is actually the easiest of all the sections in terms of stitch count, stitch pattern. And I'm doing like a block marling here with some minis and held with a bright pink mohair. So this is a really fun section too, and this is just garter, so it's just back and forth, but doing, you can see there's lots of short rows in that because it's becoming a triangle. So I'm up to almost the end. I've only got that many stitches left to join, and then I can move on to the next section. But yeah, this is a really, really fun one. You have to look at the pattern But then once you've figured out what you're doing for each section, you can just kind of fly, and that's really good. So I'm using my Chiagu needles, I think they're 5.5 millimeter for those. I cast on the 10th of November last year, so it's been on the needles for a while, but that's okay. I'm quite happy to just plod my way through it. It's really fun and I'm really enjoying it. So that's number 4. Number 5, I'm so pleased with the progress of this one. So this is in a bag from Bonnie Mabel Makes, who's a wonderful Indigenous maker in Australia, and she makes absolutely beautiful like First Nations print bags and earrings and all sorts of beautiful things. And this, she actually gifted this to me last year, so I'm very grateful. But they're absolutely beautiful bags. And it is holding my Alma cardigan by Sana & Co, and I have made amazing progress on this because I finished my Daft days and I thought I really want to focus on another garment and try and knock them out, because I find garments a bit, not tricky, but I don't kind of fly through garments like some people, so I need to kind of focus on them. Now I'm using yarn from Louie and Lola. I got it as a kit at the Bendigo Sheep Show last year, and it is a beautiful kit that is made up of her 8-ply possum merino yarn. So it's these colorways here together with a beautiful natural kind of brown color, which I'll show you in a moment. But I of course got the pink kit because of course I did, and I have for the most part finished all the color work, which I'm very excited about. I'll show you, I still have a little bit to do when I get to the button band, but for the most part I've finished the color work and I've made great progress, and in a construction that I'm not actually that familiar with, so it's looking really good. So here is where I'm up to. Now the bottom's curling a bit because I haven't blocked it at all, but that's fine. So I finished, I think last time I showed you I had finished the color work on the body, and I was kind of maybe a little way up the body in just plain round and round in the main color. So I finished the body, and I finished, and kind of when you get to where the underarms are, you kind of finish the body, and then you have to knit the sleeves from the bottom up. So you start with the cuff and you knit up to the point where you would join to the body. So I've done that for both sleeves, and so all of my kind of complicated color work is all done, which I'm so thrilled with. Color work I find trickier than lace work, texture, that kind of thing. Like lace work and texture, that's kind of my jam, whereas color work, I know some people love it and it's, you know, what they do. It's not, I'm not sure that I'm very good. I'd like to be better, but you know, you have to practice. So I think I've done okay, and I think this yarn is going to magically block out. Thank you, Karina. And yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, beautifully soft yarn. So I finished the sleeves, knitting them up, and I joined it all together like a pro, and that was the first time I've kind of joined sleeves on bottom up like that. Yeah, it was fun, it was good. And so then you do raglan decreases, and I'm kind of at that stage where I'm maybe halfway through lengthwise the raglan decreases. Obviously the stitch count is much bigger here, so I'm definitely more than halfway in terms of the number of stitches, but I've just got to kind of decrease up to the collar, bind off, and then I have to stick it. We'll see how I go. I've never sticked before, but it'll be fine. Just with anything else, just follow the instructions and it will be fine. So yeah, so I'll finish that off, I'll stick it, then I have to pick up the button band and the collar, and that's where you do a little bit more colour work with this dark pink colour. So that will be the last bit of colour work I have to do. But yeah, I'm really excited. At the moment it looks like a little bit of a peasant off the shoulder, so I could just stop here, call it done, but let's keep going. Let's finish it. Yay! So yeah, so I cast this one on the 11th of August last year because I was very excited after the sheep show, but then because it was colourwork I kind of slowed down quite a bit. But I have made really, really great progress over the last month, so I'm very excited about that. And I love the colours and the yarn. It's going to be beautiful to wear once I've finished it, so I'm very excited about that. Oh, and the last one, where's my last whip? Here, this is my last whip. So this is being held not in a very contained way, in a bag from Crystal Cat Stitchery. This again has dogs on it because I'm a dog person. So yes, great bag. I think I got it at the sheep show last year. I think so. This is holding my second sample of my Melbourne Shawl, and this is the large size. So what I've done with this one, I've already told you all about the shawl, so I don't need to do that again. But I'll talk to you about the yarn. The main colour I'm using is this gorgeousness, and this is again a yarn I got at the sheep show this year. I think I'm doing it very well. Gold star for me for knitting all my yarn that I bought at the sheep show this year. It is Ravelry Fin Sheep Wool. Ravelry, probably. It is the 8-ply DK weight yarn, 200 grams, 400 meters in a hank. And it's 100% pure Fin Sheep wool, and it is in the colorway large number, and I'm going to let you work that out. I think it says large number 9, but it could also be large 01. I don't know. It's hard to read, but that, oh, it's beautiful yarn. It's so beautiful to work with. I cannot recommend it enough. The colorway is beautiful, and it's naturally dyed, so the color they get with the natural dyes is really, really beautiful. That's my main color. My contrast color, as I said, there's different yarn options because it's at that DK weight gauge. So for my second color, my contrast color, I'm holding 2 yarns together. Oh, aren't they gorgeous? So I'm holding this yarn, which is a fingering weight sock yarn. It is Life in the Long Grass, and let me get the tag so I know the color. It is in their twist sock, which I don't know if you've used Life in the Long Grass before, but I love their yarn. You can get it from Little Woolly Makes in Victoria, and it is in the color Autumn, which seems very Northern Hemisphere appropriate right now, but not really Australia, but that's okay. And the second yarn is a silk mohair. Look at that color. It's like a bronzy kind of, it's so shiny and just amazing. It's hard to really show how amazing it is. I hope you're getting that sense. So it is the Mohair and Silk by Fibre, who's a local maker to me, a local dyer, and it's 70% kid mohair, 30% mulberry silk, and it's in the colorway Auburn, which is just this absolutely spectacular colorway. And these 2 yarns combined are making the most beautiful, glorious fabric. So here is, and I've still got ends because it's a work in progress. So this is the large size. Here's the main color side. So this is where you start and increase. As I said, it's asymmetrical, so different rate of increases and decreases. And there's the widest part there, and then it melds into this absolutely gorgeous coppery brown fluffy fabric, and going all the way down, and you can see I'm very, very close to finishing. So the test knit for the Melbourne Shawl is going on at the moment, as I said, so I'm knitting along with my test knitters, and I'm going to finish this one, and then I'm going to block it, and it's going to probably get even bigger. But I'm very, very happy with my yarn choices. They're just, it's so good, and the color, I think the colors are quite good for me. But yeah, it's such a fun soothing, relaxing knit. So and it's really fun. So this is the large size, so it uses 2 skeins or 200 grams ish. As you can see, there's a little bit left over of the main color, and then 1 skein equivalent, 8 ply, of the contrast color. So you can pick whatever contrast color you want. It's 1 skein, or if you're using fingering weight with mohair, it would be a 50 gram skein. But yeah, so that you can adjust the size and use up all your yarn if you like. All the instructions will have a guide on how to do that. But yeah, so again, using 5mm needle, same as before. And I cast this on the 13th of August, so I should be finished relatively soon. And again, I could knit it much quicker if I wanted to, but I was wanting to knit along with my test knitters, so I always find it more fun if I'm knitting the same thing as them. And so yeah, so that's it. I think I'll just show you a really super quick last whip. It's just in a bag that I got from Melbourne City Dyeworks years ago, I think. So I'm knitting a pair of socks for my mum. So I've finished, I'm using the Melbourne Socks pattern, my Melbourne Socks pattern, which is a free pattern. So head over, grab it. It's my fingering weight vanilla sock pattern. Gives you lots of options for heels and how to customize your socks however you like. So I'm using a self-striping yarn from Dizzy Devil yarn. It's this absolutely beautiful colorway. It's actually leftover yarn that I used when I knit my sample of my Melbourne mitts. So my Melbourne mitts fingering weight light, Melbourne mitts light, is in this colorway, and I had lots left over. So I'm knitting my mum a pair of socks. So they've got a really fun pink toe, really great green cuff, and because it's self-striping, I'm doing the afterthought heel option in the pattern. So I've knit one and I've got to cast on the second one. But this is just round and round. I'm using a 9-inch circular needle just to kind of knit a tube and add those things on. So it's very, very quick. You can see all my stitch markers as I count every 10 rows, but I do it on the very edge. When I use a 9-inch circular needle, I like to keep a track of what my first stitch is of the round, so that then when I go back and cut in my heel, I know where to pick up stitches from. So yeah, that's my last kind of 7th whip, but that's just one that I keep in my handbag, in my work bag, and just knit on it when I can. So yeah, so lots of whips at the moment. There's a few others that I'm working on, like my boneyard shawl with my friend Judy, but these are my most active whips at the moment. And I am looking at potentially casting on another sweater. Ooh, but we'll see. The cast on energy that I had in the last few weeks has kind of died down a bit, so we'll see. But yeah, but I think that's it for today, and I think that's enough because I've been talking for a while. So it's been so great catching up with you all. Hopefully you can comment below if you're still watching this. Thank you, and maybe pop in your comment a little sheep emoji so that I can see that you've stayed till the end. But I'd love to hear what you're knitting on at the moment, and I'd love to hear from you. And remember to like and hit subscribe if you're not already. And I'm hoping that I'll catch up with you fairly soon for my next episode. And if you want to come and join the Mystery Knit Along chat group, just let me know, and that would be great to see you over there. But thanks very much, and happy knitting, everyone. Bye.